Have you ever had that moment where your car makes a weird noise and your stomach just drops? Or your company announces restructuring and suddenly you're calculating how many months you could survive if your paycheck disappeared? Or you see an insane investment opportunity, but you can't take advantage of it because all your money is tied up? If you've ever thought, I make decent money, so why do I still feel financially fragile? That's literally most people. And here's the thing. The problem usually isn't that you don't invest enough. It's that you don't have enough cash. And almost nobody talks about the real power of that. My name is Finn, and I spend way too much time thinking about how money decisions today shape your future freedom. If you're someone who feels like you're doing okay financially, but still low-key stressed about money, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because today we're talking about something personal finance influencers love to dismiss: cash. And not in the way you think. Look, if you spent more than 5 minutes on finance TikTok or YouTube, you've probably heard this: cash is trash. Inflation is eating your money. If your money isn't invested, you're losing. And yes, mathematically, long-term, cash loses purchasing power. The U.S. inflation rate has averaged roughly 3% per year over the last century, according to historical data from the Federal Reserve. In 2022, it spiked over 8%. So yeah, inflation is real. But here's what most people don't realize. Cash isn't just an investment. It's optionality. It's control. It's psychological leverage. And those things don't show up on a compound interest calculator. Let me hit you with something uncomfortable. According to surveys from the Federal Reserve, roughly 40% of Americans would struggle to cover a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. 40%. That's not low income only. That includes people making $60,000, $80,000, even 6 figures. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics consistently shows the median job tenure is only around 4 years, meaning job stability, not as stable as we pretend. So here's the paradox. People are investing aggressively for retirement 30 years away, but they're one medical bill away from chaos. That's backwards. What cash really buys you? Let's break this down. When you hold cash, real, intentional reserves, you're buying 3 things: time, leverage, psychological freedom. And this is where it gets really interesting. 1. Cash buys time. Imagine you spend $5,000 a month to live. Rent divided by mortgage, food, insurance, everything. If you have $5,000 in savings, you have 1 month of life. $15,000 3 months. $30,000 6 months. $60,000 1 full year. Time. Now, you might be thinking, Finn, I'd rather invest that. The market averages 8–10% long-term. Okay, let's do the math. Let's say you have $30,000. If you invested and earn 8% annually, that's $2,400 per year. $200 per month. So you're trading $200 divided by month potential gains. 6 months of total life flexibility. That's the trade. And here's what most people don't realize. Time reduces desperation, and desperation destroys wealth. Story: the forced decision. Let me tell you about someone I know. We'll call him Daniel. Daniel had almost everything invested. Index funds, crypto, a little real estate crowdfunding. Net worth, around $180,000. Cash, about $3,000. Then layoffs hit his company. He didn't lose his job immediately, but the anxiety was crushing. He started applying to jobs he didn't even want. Lower pay, worse culture, longer commute. Why? Because he didn't have time. He didn't have leverage. If Daniel had 6 months of expenses saved, he could have negotiated harder, waited for better offers, taken a calculated risk. Instead, he took the first thing available. Cash doesn't just prevent emergencies. It prevents bad decisions. 2. Cash creates opportunity leverage. Here's where people really underestimate it. When the market crashes, everyone says, buy the dip. But do you know what most people are doing during a crash? Panicking. Or worse, selling. During the 2008 financial crisis, the S&P 500 fell about 50% from peak to trough. In March 2020, during VID, markets dropped over 30% in weeks. If you had cash during those periods, you weren't scared. You were dangerous. Let's run numbers. If you invested $10,000 at the bottom of March 2009, that investment would have grown to over $60,000 plus by 2021. That's not magic. That's liquidity. Here's the thing. Opportunity shows up when other people are stressed. Cash allows you to move when others can't. 3. The psychology of cash, the part nobody talks about. This is the part that doesn't get enough attention. Behavioral finance research shows we're extremely loss-averse. Studies inspired by Daniel Kahneman's work suggest losses feel roughly twice as painful as equivalent gains feel good. So when your investments drop 20%, your brain goes into threat mode. But if you have cash, your nervous system stays calmer, and calm investors win. Here's what most people don't realize. The biggest risk to your portfolio isn't volatility. It's your reaction to volatility. Cash acts like emotional shock absorbers, the hidden cost of being fully invested. Now let's challenge something even more controversial. If you're 100% invested, zero cash buffer, and living paycheck to paycheck, you are not optimized. You are fragile, and fragile systems break. A lot of people chase maximum returns, but wealthy people chase maximum resilience. There's a difference. The real math of cash versus investing. Let's say you keep $25,000 in cash instead of investing it. At an 8% return, that's $2,000 per year of lost gains. Sounds painful, right? But now let's compare it to one bad financial mistake. Selling $100,000 of investments in a panic during a 25% downturn equals $25,000 loss. Taking a job that pays $5,000 less per year because you were desperate. Missing a real estate deal that would have cash flowed $400 divided by month. One emotionally driven decision wipes out years of theoretical lost returns. Cash reduces emotional mistakes. That's the real ROI. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Nick, but even high-yield savings accounts are paying like 4–5% at best. Inflation's higher sometimes. True, but remember, cash isn't supposed to outperform equities. It's insurance. You don't complain that your car insurance didn't make you money. You're grateful when you don't need it. The optionality effect. Here's what most people don't realize. Cash increases your courage. When you have 6–12 months saved, you negotiate your salary differently. You leave toxic environments faster. You take smarter career risks. You start businesses more confidently. Let's say having cash helps you negotiate $10,000 more per year in salary. Over a 30-year career, even without raises, that's $300,000. Now compound that. Suddenly, your unproductive $30,000 cash reserve created hundreds of thousands in long-term earnings. This is where it gets really interesting. Cash changes how you show up in the world, and that changes outcomes. The wealth gap nobody mentions. Most millionaires, especially self-made ones, didn't get rich by maximizing returns at all costs. They avoided catastrophic mistakes. They avoided leverage they couldn't handle. They stayed liquid enough to survive downturns. The wealthy play defense first, then offense. Most middle-class households do the opposite. How much cash should you actually have? Okay, let's make this practical. Step 1. Calculate your monthly burn rate. If you spend $3,000 divided by month target $9,000, $18,000 minimum. $5,000 divided by month target $15,000, $30,000. High volatility income. Aim higher 6–12 months. Step 2. Separate your cash into buckets. Emergency fund untouchable unless true emergency. Opportunity fund for investments, business ideas, market dips. Short-term spending travel, large purchases. When you divide it mentally, you reduce guilt about holding too much cash. Where to keep it? Look, don't leave it earning 0%.01 in a traditional checking account. Use high-yield savings accounts, money market funds, short-term treasury bills. Keep it liquid, low risk, accessible. The goal isn't growth. The goal is stability. The identity shift. This is the part most people miss. When you build real cash reserves, something shifts internally. You stop saying, "I hope nothing bad happens," and you start saying, "I can handle whatever happens." That's power. Not flashy Instagram wealth. Real power. A relatable scenario. Imagine two people. Both make $90,000 divided by year. Both invest 15%. Both have $200,000 net worth. Person A, $5,000 cash, $195,000 invested. Person B, $40,000 cash, $160,000 invested. On paper, Person A looks more optimized, but when layoffs hit, Person B sleeps. Person A spirals. Who makes better long-term decisions? Who negotiates harder? Why nobody talks about this? Because it's not sexy. No one brags about. Just hit my 8-bar month emergency fund goal. There's no screenshot for that. But it's foundational. You don't build skyscrapers on unstable ground. Cash is the foundation. Action plan due this week. Here's what I want you to do. Calculate exactly how many months of life you currently have saved. Set a target number. Automate transfers weekly. Even $100 adds up. Stop investing extra money until you hit at least 3 months. Build to 6 months before aggressively increasing risk. And if your income is unstable, commissions, business owner, freelancer, aim for 9 to 12 months. That's not fear-based. That's strategic. Here's what most people don't realize. Having cash doesn't make you rich. It makes you unshakable. And unshakable people build wealth faster because they stay invested during downturns. Take calculated risks. Avoid high-interest debt traps. Make decisions from confidence, not panic. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be resilient. Look, the world is unpredictable. Companies downsize, markets crash, economies shift. You cannot control that, but you can control your buffer. If you want real financial power, not just impressive spreadsheets, build cash reserves that give you time and leverage. Stop chasing optimization. Start building stability. Because stability turns into opportunity. And opportunity turns into wealth. If this changed the way you think about cash, hit the subscribe button. I talk about money in a way that blends the math and the psychology. Because you need both. And drop a comment. How many months of expenses do you currently have saved? Be honest. Because awareness is the first step to power. I'll see you in the next one.